Welcome to the Taylor Price Podcast. I am your host, Taylor Price, obviously. On this episode, we're going to have my friend Ejiya here. We're going to be doing this episode on my deck. Fun things I wanted to talk about, namely that I've been getting a little bit of... There's a bee out here. Maybe that's one thing that's bad about this podcast being outside is that there's bees. Didn't even think about that. I forgot about the elements. Oh, no. I might have a wasp's nest. That is not good. Oh, shit. I'm going to move over here to hopefully not feel a hornet or a bee right here. Where did it go? No. I think there's a hole there, and that's not good. There's fucking hornets in my wall. Shit. Ah, that's bad. Okay. Well, I'm going to play it by ear. Some cool things have been happening, some updates for me on this episode. I mean, I've taken a little bit of a hiatus from recording podcasts. I had some other things in the works. I've been, it's been up to something season for me, just kind of like how Pat McAfee has been up to something too. He got his ESPN deal. I got a opportunity, and that opportunity is going to be featured here soon. Some of it is going to be bits and pieces of this podcast. So if you are seeing this and you are watching the full episode, I appreciate you coming over from wherever you found me at. So I appreciate that a lot. But with that being said, I'm still working on getting to 1,000 subscribers. And I'd appreciate if you and maybe somebody else next to you would subscribe to this channel and you would tell your friends. That's the whole point of growing is trying to learn how to grow your audience. And I'm just trying to learn from you guys. So any comments, questions, concerns, anything you guys want me to talk about, funny topics, TikToks, send them my way. You can follow me on Twitter at Taylor Price Pod. You can send them to me on Instagram at Taylor Price Podcast. Or if you want, you can follow me as well on TikTok at Taylor Price Pod. So feel free to follow me on all my socials. Thank you again for tuning into this episode. And let's get into the episode.
An injury like that so quick, they use like that as the new benchmark. Like,
Oh, yeah.
AP does it with this type of rehab. We can judge, from a normal athlete 6 to 8 months.
Is that off? Let me see.
I don't know. Is it? No, I think it's on.
No, it's off. It says off. That's what's been going on. I was wondering what was going on.
Oh, so we all know?
Yeah, you on now. There we go.
Oh,
No, keep going.
Oh, okay, bet. We can run it back too.
Well, I mean, I never really did an intro, so like.
Oh yeah, no, we just kind of shooting shits.
I was just checking audio, making sure audio was good. Like.
Oh, bet.
You and me shoot this shit for 3 hours, anyways.
Yeah, I was about to say we'll definitely recreate that content.
But like the benchmark for ACLs now, AP did kind of ruin that, didn't he?
He did. So he essentially changed the narrative of it all, right? So it used to be like, regular person or, high school to college level athlete. Recovery time or clearing time was probably around like 9 to 10 months, right? Just to make sure like that knee is good, the muscles around it is reinforced, like you're 100% good to go.
You're good.
But when you have a freak athlete like AP, right, he came back in 6 months. And, one of my physical therapists, he's kind of like a third party, like he does his own like neurological science thing, and he essentially helped AP a little bit in his progress.
Okay.
And so he was there for maybe like 2 or 3 months helping him rehab with his ACL along with other physical therapists. And so he came back in 6 months, maybe 6 months and a couple of weeks. So he ruined essentially, and not, it's not set in stone, but he kind of recreated like, okay, if we add a harder workout regimen, right, a harder rehab regimen to the ACL, right, which includes like getting your quad strength back, getting the muscles around your knee back, calf, hamstring, like all those, like when you add more of a workout to that, they were like, okay, we can probably get these athletes back as soon as possible, because at the end of the day, that's the goal. The goal is to get the athlete back as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But as efficient as possible as well.
You want them to, because the longevity of the athlete, honestly, like if you rush them back, the threat of re-injury is the thing that you worry about long term. Like, are they doing more damage than they are just being able to get back?
Yeah.
I mean, AP, he was the workhorse for our team at the time. So, like, obviously he felt a weight on his shoulders to be like, hey, like if I don't rehab quick enough, like this team is done without me. We have zero chance.
Right.
And he came back and ran for 2,000 yards. I mean, not only did he do something that a lot of people have a hard time doing, he did it after rehabbing one of the hardest injuries to rehab.
Yeah.
And he did it coming, like, that's where we got to remember that he is superhuman beyond a shadow of a doubt. Like, they don't make humans like him very often.
Yeah. And, you know, I was talking to my PT the other day, and I'm just like what's the rate of people re-tearing their ACL? Like, what's the average?
Yeah.
And the average is literally 2 years.
Yeah.
So you imagine you did, and I'm a living testament of, like, how intense the rehab is.
Yeah.
I now have 2 different PTs in training house, like, every other day. Like, Monday, Wednesday, Friday is one guy, right? And then Tuesday, Thursday is another guy. Like, and it's different things, right? So Monday, Wednesday, Friday is, like, strength, power. Like, you're going to move weight, activate that quad, like, strengthen it back up. Tuesday, Thursday is more, like, movement-based.
Okay.
Right? So when you look at that, you put in all that work just for 2 years to potentially re-tear it again. Like,
yeah,
it just it depends.
That's
on
disheartening.
so many factors. It depends on, you know, what kind of surgery they do, right? Do they
Yeah.
take your quad tendon? Do they take your patella tendon from your knee? Do they take your hamstring? Like, each one of those, like, it's still being studied to this day. Like,
yeah, which is the best?
which
I mean,
one's the best, right?
I think Tiger Woods, if I remember correctly, they did the hamstring because when he came, I think about that too. Like ACL injuries in high contact sports versus ACL injuries that are non-contact. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater had a non-contact ACL injury that nearly ended his career. And yet he came back and played professional football. So for a golfer, like we all say that, like, Tiger did something on one leg. He was still able to swing and walk the entire way. Like, he's not playing a high contact sport. He still had both of his legs. Was it hard for him to do certain things? Absolutely. But, and I don't doubt the pain. I mean, Tiger Woods, he's not the type to take drugs because it ruins your touch. And that's something I can attest to. When I took painkillers in high school, I couldn't hit baseball the same.
Right.
Like, it just didn't feel the same. My
makes
swing didn't
sense,
feel the
yeah.
same. So I can know for a fact that Tiger taking any sort of drug will hinder his performance. So he took the brunt of the pain on a torn ACL and 2 fractures in his tibia. It was the 2 fractures in his tibia that hurt, not the ACL. But yet, he still won. So we have some awesome athletes, like, in our world, and I think as medical, you know, as medicine gets better and as surgeries get better, we're just going to see so many more athletes coming back sooner and potentially doing what AP did. But I don't see it happening soon.
The thing is, like, I remember, so I was working this camp at North Texas. Oklahoma coaches were there. The head coach wasn't there at the time, but it was just like 3 different, like, Texas schools. Oklahoma was there, and it was just like a camp. And so, like, they wanted us players to work the camp with the players and the coaches. And I just remember this coach. This one kid just got beat bad on a 1-on-1. Like, it was like it was bad. Like, I'm talking about a whoop whoop, and then ran a out route, and, like, the dude, like, slipped on the turf. It was embarrassing. Like, you know me, like,
Yeah,
I'm dramatic. So
he got folded.
Like,
I mean,
oh shit, like,
we saw a lawn chair. All right.
you know what I'm saying? But the one thing the coach said that kind of I didn't necessarily relate to, but I thought about it. I think about it every day almost, and it's just like, oh yeah, you just got beat by DNA. Like, you didn't get beat by just plain skill. You got beat because he is just genetically overall
He's just better than you. Yeah.
And so I kind of relate that to, like, high-level athletes.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, training plays a huge factor.
Yeah.
Like, a massive factor in, you know, what you're going to produce on the field. But there's just sometimes, there's just those unicorns out in the world, bro, that are just genetically gifted.
And they're built for this one specific thing.
They are built for just, like, even one, maybe just multiple, but, like, that specific thing that they train for,
yeah,
they were built for that.
Yeah.
Like, their bodies were built and sculpted by just that. Right? So
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here like, how many unicorns are there really out in the world? Like AP, who can really recover not only recover in 6 months, but rush for
Oh,
2,000
2K. I mean,
2K in yards? Are you
he was
shitting me?
he was 9 yards away from breaking the all-time record, and we were in a playoff push. So instead of letting him go further and potentially fumble and potentially lose the game for us, but also gain the record, he was a team player. He did get carried off by the rest of his teammates, but if anything, he could have just ran right back on that field and nobody would have stopped him.
Right.
Been like, all right. Because like that, if I'm Brad Childress, who was the coach at the time, I would have let him go,
Right.
100%. But you also got to win that game. I mean, it's against the Packers too, so you kind of are like,
It's in running back, and I'm speaking from playing running back in high school. Like I
Yeah.
didn't play that at the college level, but like, would you argue that playing running back is one of the more physical, demanding positions, like
Yeah.
top two? Because you obviously have O-line, D-line, right, that
yeah.
are
The-
getting beaten, battered every play.
I mean, car crashes every play. Yeah. I mean, head-on collisions literally every play. I think O-lineman, I think D-lineman, if you just take away lineman purely, like, yeah, running back, I mean, the longevity of a running back is 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And we can see that, like, the prime of most running backs is now in their early 20s, and the draft is becoming the biggest place to find your running back for the next 2 or 3 years. I mean, we're seeing that change already. We've seen that where, I mean, the only big profile running backs are the ones that can do more than just run downfield nowadays. Like, the game has changed.
Bijan Robinson, for example.
I mean,
They're putting him out as slot receiver now.
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I mean, Deebo Samuel is a wide receiver, but they played him like a Christian McCaffrey type running back for a predominant part of that season where he was just tearing apart the league.
What they call him, wide back?
A wide back, yeah. I mean, he hates it because he wants to play wide receiver, and I think that's a competitive attitude that a lot of receivers have. I mean, if you ask Randy Moss to play running back, of course he'd be an amazing running back,
So pissed
and
off.
he's amazing. He was an amazing punt returner, but we realized that his longevity and his game is best suited for just purely going long, right? So when you find that unicorn that is Randy Moss, that is AP, or, I mean, to me, some of the best receivers of all time could have done more, but were so good at what they did that you couldn't stop them at that.
Yeah.
Calvin Johnson, namely. I mean, that's a DNA beater out of anybody I can think
What
of.
was
Like,
he, like 6'5" or 6'6"?
with the wingspan and ability to cover the whole span of an adult male elephant. Like, if you picture how big a goddamn elephant is, and you throw a ball anywhere near at an elephant, and he can catch it, are you fucking kidding me? Sports science proved that his ability to go out and get a ball was as big as a African full-grown male elephant. That is fucking huge.
That's massive, bro.
That means that dude can cover more ground than anybody out on the field,
Yeah.
and you have to guard him? Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't care who you are, you're not doing it. It
They
doesn't
even had
matter.
to bring an extra safety over.
You'd have to find another Calvin Johnson to cover Calvin Johnson. And that's why he did what he did.
Okay, I have a question for you then,
All
since
right.
we're on the topic of Calvin Johnson. So you've seen, I personally believe that, when you compare athletes from the early 2000s to like the athletes now, right, the modern day athletes, let's just say from like 2017 to now, and then you have obviously athletes from like 2000 to like, I don't know, whenever.
Yeah, 27. Basically up until like the early 2012s,
Right.
2015s.
And, you have different changes in generations and
Yeah.
like different models of athletes, different frames, different abilities, right? So do you think these modern day like cornerbacks, DBs, safeties will be able to match up with the older receivers? So like the Chad Johnsons, the Calvin Johnsons, the Larry. How can I ever forget
Well,
him?
I mean, Larry Fitzgerald?
Thank you.
I mean,
that's so embarrassing.
The best part about those receivers is, like, in the era that they played, they were so good is because they played the era. And those are versatile players that I think if you stick them in any era, they're adapting to their era. Now, there are era players who play well in their era, i.e., I mean, Reggie Bush is one of those I think of where, like, he was such a good running back in college football in that style. When he got to the NFL, it was such a different style that he had to adapt or die. And he didn't necessarily adapt all that well. Like, he found some sort of skill set, but nowadays his skill set is much needed. Had he shown that we would see Reggie Bush maybe potentially being a guy we still talk about as being like a great running back of all time. So the physicality has definitely changed. A lot of body types all these guys are fucking huge nowadays. I mean, linemen are able to run sub 4.5s nowadays
the
sometimes.
athleticism, I think, is a little bit different now than it used to be.
But the egos are so much greater now that those cornerbacks, of course, think that they can cover anybody.
Right.
And even in a game that doesn't promote what they do, I mean, and they're still performing at a high level. So I think some of the cornerbacks of today would be able to compete at any level.
Yeah.
And there are the select guys from the early 90s, early 2000s that would be able to adapt. Marvin Harrison, Larry Fitzgerald, Chad Johnson. Those are guys that I could. Steve Smith did play it kind of across those eras.
He played like just a bully.
Yeah, and that was his own style, but he knew that he was not an era player, that his style was able to adapt or die to any era.
I don't think if you need to think about the modern day nickel cornerback, right?
Mm-hmm.
You think of like a smaller guy who's number 23 on the Colts. He's a very good nickel corner. I forgot his name. It'll come to me eventually. Yeah. But super talented nickel corner, probably a top 3 like nickel corner in the game, nickel safety, whatever you want to call it. But you match him up with a guy like Steve Smith with his body type, his aggression, his physicality. Like we have yet to probably see like a slot receiver like match up like that. Like as far as like Steve Smith's stature, like in a while. And I don't know.
Yeah.
So do you think?
But I mean, they put Larry Fitzgerald in the slot, and he destroyed any receiver, or any corner, any nickel, any linebacker that they put on him.
But he was more just of a finesse receiver.
But he also was a physical specimen too.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah.
So, but Steve Smith did play the slot, so I mean, it's kind of
he played really everywhere. Now I think about it. He played the deep ball. He played the slot.
Some of those slot guys that you see now, putting him on the outside isn't a bad thing, but it's always bait. Like you're just baiting him because it's the threat of going long. Those slot guys have speed, so you have to cover them over the middle, because if you don't, they're going to get that one and slide out to the outside and get a first down, or catch it and get down and catch that 6-yard, pump and dump over the middle, where they're not getting lit up. Hospital passes of old.
Hospital passes.
But nowadays, the receivers are able to protect themselves a lot more. There's protections against them as defenseless receivers, so they're going over the middle a little bit more, a little bit easier. But that's why they're not able to play that outside position, because it's those bigger, physical, faster guys that are able to play the outside. I mean, DK Metcalf is a physical specimen. You're wasting his talents if you throw him in the slot.
Yeah.
That's why it is good to have a Tyler Lockett or somebody else like in the slot, guys who can complement a big physical specimen on the outside. I mean, Randy Moss had the complement of Chris fucking Carter and Jake Reed. I mean, but you take that away and he still torched every defense just because of his over-the-top threat. So you have to, I don't know. Those, like you said, those are unicorns that we just have to acknowledge. Yeah. And I don't know. To flip the debate onto something funny, and I saw this the other day, and this is a way off topic, not even on football.
No, go ahead.
There's a debate going around. Do Fruit Loops have flavors? Do you? I mean, this has been going on. So like, when you eat Fruit Loops, I'm on the side that there's no flavor. There is no flavors other than fruit flavor, like a tropical punch flavor in Fruit Loops. But there's a very large amount of people who think that there are flavors to Fruit Loops.
Okay. This is interesting because I'm remembering the taste of
Fruit Loops, right?
There is really only flavors in Fruit Loops when you add milk.
So the milk adds the flavor.
Milk adds the flavor because when I used to actually love Fruit Loops, top 5 cereal for me. Oh my God.
Yeah, see? I told you it's gonna get distracting a little bit out here.
No, it's okay. So when I used to eat Fruit Loops, right? Like there's those cereals you can just take out the bag and eat.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
You can just take out the bag, go crazy. Or when you were really young, like your mom would pack up a little Ziploc bag.
I mean, yeah. Oh yeah. Cocoa Puffs are those. Those are
feel
those.
me? Like
yeah.
one of them ones. You know what I'm saying? When it came to Fruit Loops for me, like if I ate like a handful of Fruit Loops, they all tasted the same.
All the same flavor.
They almost essentially tasted just dry.
Yeah.
like almost dry, super super dehydrated fruit.
So with milk adds flavor. Without milk, all the same.
I believe with milk, you add a little milk and let it get a little soggy,
Hmm.
you start tasting all the flavors of the Fruit Loops.
So that's what's crazy is like that technically means that there are flavors to Fruit Loops.
There is.
I
If you add milk, if you eat it dry, dehydrated fruit.
But then that's like Fruity Pebbles. Those are tinier versions of Fruit Loops.
There's more flavor in dry Fruity Pebbles than there is in dry Fruit
Okay,
Loops.
so there are different flavors of Fruity Pebbles.
There is different
Damn.
flavors of Fruity Pebbles.
Well, that's what's crazy. The debate right now is that there are not flavors of Fruity Pebbles, but there are flavors of Skittles. Well, it's like, of course, they label them on the goddamn package
I'm
of
actually
Skittles.
starting to think there's no flavor, like all the flavors in Skittles.
It's
taste
all
the same.
sugar, of
Yeah,
course.
I think it all tastes the same.
And
Which Skittles are we talking about though? What Skittles are we talking? The regular Johns?
well, they have the
or
tropical ones. They have all those. They have flavors. They all list them on the back. They have a picture of them and even like little
Like,
curvy
even if
letters.
You try and take them one by one. You try and take them one by one. You're not gonna get that much of a difference.
That's the thing that whenever you taste test anything, you're supposed to like drink some water in between to kind of like cleanse the palate. And if you do that, all right. So that
water damn near doesn't do anything.
Okay.
For real, it really doesn't. You
So
gotta use,
there's
like ginger slices
there's a
or something.
Japanese game show, and this is gonna go into a video that you and I are gonna have to do.
Alright.
So there's a Japanese game show, and I love this show. It's a comedy show, and I'm sure you've seen clips of it where they're like there's like 24 hours trapped in a gym, and then they get like attacked throughout the 24 hours. It's like not actually attacked, like with like foam swords and shit to like scare them and keep them up and keep them on their toes while they do certain quizzes and games. Well, there's this one game that they play where they line up a bunch of brands of the same type of thing, like milk or orange juice or coffee or beer, and they're blindfolded to taste test one of them. So they taste test the one, and they are like, all right, I got the taste. And then they have the 20 different brands, and if they pick up one, they have to sip it or eat it or whatever, and they have to guess if that's the one that they sipped when their eyes were closed. If they get it wrong, obviously they get punished. If they get it right, they win some money. Right? So how many different brands of fruit-flavored things are there out there where you could like get them bite-size and take a bite? I'm going to do with drinks first because drinks are easy.
Yeah, drinks you got to start out.
I'm thinking of doing root beer because how many different brands of root beer are
I
there?
think there's really only like 2.
There's a bunch. A&W,
Oh, is
Barks, Mug, Killabrew.
Oh shit.
I mean, there's like 50 different brands, and they're all at Cub Foods. I mean, shit, we could go to Cub Foods and like make a fucking video out of us just going like, look how many there are.
That's crazy, bro. Because root beer, I hated root beer as a kid. Oh my god, like.
So because you have very distinct palate towards it, I bet you'd be really good at picking out what you don't like about it.
Oh my god, yes.
And you'll be able to know which one is which.
Bro, the fact of the matter is, like, I don't even drink soda like as it is. So like, I feel like if I was to drink, that game would be good for me because I'll be able to tell it like for real.
You think? And for me, it's lemon lime soda because I want to find how many different lemon lime drinks are out there.
I do love lemon lime drinks.
See, like I love Sprite.
Mellow Yellow.
Yeah.
7 Up.
Right. Mellow Yellow is technically like a Mountain Dew type flavor for me.
It is, yeah.
So I'm going for the clear drinks, right?
Yeah.
And I found maybe 7 or 8 brands. I'm trying to get to 10 because I feel like 10 is a solid number. Cub has their own off-brand that I feel like I'll know exactly which one it is.
You can just tell when something just tastes off-brand.
Right.
It's disgusting. It just tastes poor. Like.
Well, I went to Cub and I'm like looking at all the brands of lemon lime soda, and there's some Cubs that are like more fully stocked than others, but the Cub Foods brand is called Super Chill. Like, bro, I'm so super chill, bro, dude.
Simple chill.
Yeah, so I'm like, that is the worst name. That is the worst name for a soda out there. But that's going to be one of the brands that are on there that I can definitely do. And I like Japanese game shows in general, so I'm going to take some ideas
I used to
from them.
always see like them on like the shorts or like the IG reels,
Yeah.
like very briefly. I'll just be like, bro, y'all have fun over there.
Japanese game shows are way cooler than any game show we have here. And it's
Yeah.
because the stakes are higher, they are way sillier, and like there's one that you should definitely check out, at least just look up highlights of. It's called Takeshi's Castle. You've probably seen it because it's on Spike TV as MXC, Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. They dubbed over it in English, and they try to make it way wackier than even Takeshi's Castle already is, but it's just like like there's just there's a wall of like 6 doors. 2 of them are real doors. All the rest of them are sealed shut, and you just have 80 people in a crowd trying to figure out which door is which.
What?
And then there's progressively less doors, and there's progressively less of them that open. So by the end of it, there's just 2 doors, and only one of them opens, and there's just 80 people trying to go through the door all at once.
Bro, that's a
First one to the finish wins.
bro. That sounds like some rated E Squid Games.
It's Fall Guys, basically. What Fall Guys is now is what that game was back in like the early 90s. That show came out in the early 90s, so
Whoa.
they're stealing. I mean, that's what movies are nowadays. We're just ripping ideas from the early 90s and 2000s and recycling
That's damn
shit.
near with everything though, like clothes, even like inspirations with food.
I get that. I mean, we're creatures of habit, us humans. I mean, we love what we love.
History essentially still repeats itself.
Why do we think 4-chord songs are always popular? It's because we like what we like. You could be avant-garde as much as you want, and you can be revolutionary and never done something. But if it doesn't capture the mind, if it's not repeatable, people are just going to be like,
one and done.
good job. Oh, that really cool thing that keeps happening over and over again? Sweet.
Nice, yeah.
It's like, I mean, I love fashion trends, and I love like cool things like or funny videos on TikTok, but like when somebody makes the same joke over and over and over
And then
again.
try and spin off of the same joke. Like, make the same joke, but like say it in a different light. It's like, bro, like we're familiar with your game.
Yeah, we get it.
We know what you're trying to do here.
Well, I that's why I like promoting originality. I feel like good movies nowadays like are hard to find. That's why I like Jordan Peele. Like his directing style is so good.
That Jordan Peele, I honestly, I used to watch Key and Peele. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
used to binge watch that shit, and every episode was just so different and funny, bro. Like, he just knew how to create like humor, but along with like hidden messages within the show.
Everything, and it's
Oh
so
my
funny
God.
how they can teach you something like about people. It's like you just gotta have like a thicker skin almost.
Right. No, it's, bro. This life that we live in, bro. Like,
It's
people are
whack.
just, bro.
It's whack.
It be whack, bro. Like, this, like, I wake up like, so I didn't even tell you about the challenge I was doing. So it's like this
Okay.
accountability challenge, right? I actually have it on my phone. So it's a 6-week. These guys call it a fight camp.
Okay.
It's fun. It's kind of funny, honestly.
It's not actually a
It's
fight
not
camp.
actually a fight camp, but it's interesting. So I walked into this men's meeting that I go to every Monday morning, and they were just like, "Hey, EJ, we're about to start this challenge." I'm just like, "Oh, okay, dope. Like,
Okay.
what is it?" And it was more so like a self-accountability challenge. Now, it's a self-accountability challenge because if you think about it, if you're able to hold yourself accountable to little things, like, for example, right, we have different categories: frame, fuel, and focus, right? So frame, we have 500 calories burned by exercise. So essentially every exercise that you do or throughout the day, you have to at least burn 500 calories.
Okay.
So when you look at like burning 500 calories in a workout, that's actually kind of hard.
It is.
So like even today, like my boxing workout, like I just put the bag, I did like 2 minutes on the bag, 2 minutes jump roping,
Okay.
and then just like 20 reps of the ab roller. And even I only hit like 450 calories. I'm just like, bro, I'm sweating, like I'm going hard. Like I only burned 450. Like I have 50 more calories to go. So then I just stretched or whatever. But I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
hitting 500 calories is actually kind of hard in a workout.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense.
I've noticed that like incline treadmill has been a easy one for me to get calories, but like you're only really working core and legs and like trying to work more of this like upper area. You're right. It's like way harder to.
It's hard.
It's
It's
really
actually
hard.
kinda hard, bro. Like,
Yeah.
essentially, you would really for sure hit it in like a hit workout. Like, you would definitely burn about 500 calories if you got like an hour hit workout.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With like
Yeah.
different exercises like burpees, treadmill, like, you know.
Well, that's why like I mean, we think back to gym class and like our gym teachers were pretty effective at least getting us to like do a bunch of different stuff. Because like I never felt like.
Yeah, I feel like if you just tried, like just
Yeah.
a little bit, put a little effort into like PE class in high school, then
We talked about that in the last
you'll
podcast.
definitely burn a little bit of calories.
We talked about all the people that just like didn't try, and we're like, all you had to do was just try.
All you had to do was like Like, you know, when you on the line, coach says get a 3-step burst.
Yeah.
That's damn near all you needed to do in gym class. Just a 3-step burst and then coast.
And then coach was like, all right, good. Or Miss O'Rourke was like,
that's all I wanted. That's all I asked for.
oh
the
my
bare
God.
minimum.
That's so funny.
So then after that, you had 10 plus minutes of mobility and stretching. So at some sort of stretch after, right?
Yeah.
Then you have the fuel. No booze, no processed sugar, gallon water, no caffeine afternoon, 7 hours of total sleep. That includes naps. So if you take a nap in the middle of the day, you can
add
count
that up.
Yep. And then the focus part is read 10 plus pages, 10 plus minutes of mindfulness practice, 5 minutes of social media cap. So, like, I literally only get 5 minutes of social media. Like, I don't even have it. Like, I didn't delete it, but I just don't even go on there.
Yeah.
We counted YouTube, but
I mean,
YouTube's fine. But like,
I don't count YouTube because YouTube to me, like, if I'm scrolling too much, then I have to like
bro,
stop
I just
my brain.
find like different podcasts, bro. Like I
Yeah.
was watching the Pivot and I Am Athlete, like
Yeah.
just gaining some sort of insight on life.
I gotta find. So I'm trying to get back into like pushing myself to really focus on golf again because when I get going on something, like my brain just keeps pushing, and like that's where like this new opportunity with Tom Bernard is something that I gotta like slow my brain down because I have all these ideas of like what I want to do, and like now that like this wedding has been the wedding planning has been going good, but then sometimes it goes haywire on like things that I didn't think would ever go wrong.
You never expected it to just hit
Yeah.
left. Yeah.
So, but like as I'm doing that, like opportunities are popping up, and I'm like trying to take it slow. So like with that, you know, I have a show idea for Tom that I wanted to do, and the person I wanted to do it with was somebody that was supposed to be in the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now he's not in the wedding.
Oh yeah. Is he still going to the wedding?
He said he wants to go, and I feel like if I read the text out loud, it makes him sound really bad. And I don't want to hold that against him because every part of me, when it happened, wanted to be mad. But I wasn't. What's so crazy is that I wasn't mad. I was, and it sounds like a dad, but I was genuinely so disappointed. Like,
damn, that's worse than even.
I felt so betrayed by somebody who, like, in reality, like, I haven't known for that long, but still put a lot of trust in and some faith into, and have helped him out by like purchasing his merch and stuff and promoting it and doing these behind the scenes for him. And I'm like, at the end of the day, if it didn't work out, is out of my control, and being mad about it is not going to solve the issue, and ruining a friendship isn't going to solve the issue. So that all came in a huge wave in about 5 seconds, where like all that emotion flooded through me, some anxiety, some betrayal, some disappointment, but then at the end of it, it was quick to acceptance. Like I quickly accepted the fact that I couldn't change it, and that I had to move on, and that if the only way for this to make me happy was to find some silver lining somehow. My silver lining was I have 3 people who still want to be in my wedding, who showed up to the fitting on time and have shown up for me and have like proven to me that they care. Her brother has gone out of his way to talk with us and make sure that we're okay, and has really put a lot of focus in like trying to take care of our like idea of what marriage is.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful. At the end of the day, I got 3 guys, even though it's going to look weird to have 3 and 4. Like, I don't care. My wedding's going to go down. Everyone's still going to be happy. And at the end of the day, all I want to do is marry this woman.
Amen.
I ain't going to let anybody get in the way of that. Because if it's supposed to happen, it's supposed to happen. That's just where I'm at now.
Yeah.
So, like, with that kind of fatalism type mantra, with that, I had to realize that, like, if anything with Tom Bernard is going to work out, I have to be patient. There's a lot of life lessons that came in like the past few weeks of just like going through, struggling, to plan the wedding and struggling to find motivation to keep pushing forward in this podcasting realm. But like I've doubled my subscribers in the past month. I've put out like 3 or 4 really successful videos. I've made a lot of networking opportunities happen. So like I'm I got to find that silver lining. Otherwise, like, you just get bogged down by all that shit. Like, there's so much negative energy out there, and you just can't let it get to you.
It takes, what I love what you said is in that wave of 5 seconds?
It was like
That-
5 seconds.
The wave of 5 seconds, you were able to essentially feel all those emotions go through you. But at the end of the day, like, you were mature enough and understanding enough and accepting enough of yourself and the situation that you're able to just, calm down, think rationally,
Yeah.
and accept things for how it was, right?
Yeah.
You have the people, the people that came through for you. They came through for you. At the end of the day, like, the wedding is gonna happen. Is everything gonna be perfect? No. Is everything in life gonna be perfect? Not at all. But at the same time, it just, I don't know. I tell my homies all the time, like, it takes such a great deal of maturity to just really sit back and not let anger just overcome you.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's a lot of days like where me and you both just want to choose violence that day. Oh my gosh, I have that so often, bro. Like, where I really was just like, I want to choose violence. But I've gotten to this point, and I'm sure you have as well.
Yeah.
You've gotten to this point where it's just like, you don't even want to add more stress on your plate, like being angry. Like,
Yeah.
you know how much energy, think about like all the times you were ever angry,
Yeah.
right? And think of how tired you felt after. Tired and just stressed after
Dude,
the
you
fact.
sleep pretty good after that, but it's not a
You
fun
sleep
sleep.
good, but you wake up with still like the lingering anger.
Yeah,
around
you're
you.
like gritting your teeth when you're going to bed. It's like, it's just not like, you wake up with a tension headache.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I mean, holding a grudge is not fun. Like, and I had to be mature enough to release some of those old grudges that I had, like when I was like 26, 27, because I felt like it was holding me back from dating Lexi. Like,
Yeah.
like just the start of the relationship, I was holding on to all this old stuff that I mean, she thanks me for it now because of like the job that she's in now, like the drama that these girls create. Like, you just like, I didn't want anybody to ruin our relationship, so I was like very quiet about it at first.
Yeah.
And like, to some people that may have been like, oh, you weren't trying to showcase it, you're trying to hide it, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I'm trying to protect it. You know how hard that is to do? Protect your relationship when you know other people are trying to ruin it. It is hard. So there are little things like that occur that you have to, like, I don't know. I just realized that my past was getting in the way. So like, I wanted to not let that happen and protect our relationship.
I think an important thing was like she was understanding of the situation. Like,
It took her a little bit.
it
but
just
yeah.
it just helps so much, and I'm speaking even from experience. It
Yeah.
just helps so much when you have a partner that will like understand you, right? So a lot of
Yeah.
the times in like my past relationships, I felt misunderstood, right? So even in like my recent one, I was just like, you're not really hearing what I'm saying, like, or you're not listening to what I'm saying, right? You're hearing me, but you're not allowing yourself to comprehend what I'm saying first before, you have your own opinion. And it's okay. Like, it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
I like to have more discussions now instead of arguments. Like, if we get into arguments at this point, it's just like, that we're not getting anywhere.
Yeah, heated debates don't really, like,
They don't solve nothing, bro. Like, I'm trying to sit here and I think one of my biggest problems is when I try too hard to get people to understand. When I try and force, like, essentially force my agenda. And I don't try to force it, but I just feel like the thought process that I had in my head makes so much sense to me, and I want you to understand it so bad. I'm willing to literally, like, no, like, your opinion's validated, but I need you to listen to what
Yeah.
I'm saying, instead of just, if you're not understanding, like, it's okay. Like, let's try and find a middle ground.
yeah, and that's what comes with marriage, and you'll find that too. Like, I'm learning that, like, and this is something that you said, like, you want to be able to know that the person you're with is like taking what you're saying and hearing it, like seeing your words and like seeing that they carry weight.
Right.
Like, when your words hit me, like, I feel them, not just like they brush you off of you. Like, I actually think that sometimes when she's trying to say something and she's not clearly saying what she means, I'm finding the longer that we've been together, I know exactly what she's saying, even when she's not saying
Right.
exactly what she
Right.
means. That comes with time, and that comes with patience too. And like, some people nowadays, actually a lot of people nowadays, are not patient enough to learn that with the new person because it just takes so much effort, and it's because they want to be angry. And like you said, anger takes so much out of you. Like why are we starting off the relationship arguing? Like we should converse and understand each other. If those things keep happening and I keep fucking up, then yes, yell at me. I can learn from my mistakes. But it takes patience.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing is I've noticed that like with her, she's learning to be a little bit more patient with herself because I'm very patient with her. And sometimes she even has to like take a second to like look back at herself and be like, all right, like that's a learning thing. And we all beat ourselves up. I do it a lot. But like at the end of the day, I can tell that like that attitude that she has is a good thing because she wants to change. If the person doesn't want to change, they're not even going to think that what they did is bad.
Yeah, I agree. I agree to a certain extent because the passion that you do have, or your woman has, or any woman out there, the passion that they have to really like fix things in the relationship, it may seem as anger at first, at first glance, and like I do believe like genuinely like when a woman does love you, like she genuinely wants to fix it, right? Even if she gets mad. Now we both done been on the other side where like if they get mad, they gonna say some things that's just gonna sting, like you gonna feel wounded after.
Oh yeah,
right?
And you have to tell them though. You have to tell them like, hey, that hurts. Like what you say matters. It hurts.
Oh my!
I hear you, but that hurt.
It took me a while to really just be like, because I don't do well with disrespect, right? Like,
I don't think a lot of guys do.
Think about this, brother. We as men, out of everything in this world, crave respect from amongst our peers. Every day is a battle of respect amongst men, right? In the workplace, in the podcast realm, in the athlete realm. Like, we demand respect. Like, that's just us as men. Like, we need respect. Like, I need to feel like I can respect you.
Well, it's because like our value is tied to what we provide.
Exactly. And that's what it comes down to. Now, when it comes to love, at the end of the day, like that's what women like cherish more than anything. They want to feel loved by their friends, their partner, their mother, their father. They want to feel loved. Like that's what's missing for them. Men, would it be nice to feel loved? Absolutely, 100%. Like, but at the end of the day, like I think I can only really speak for myself, but I think most men would really just demand more respect than like actual love. Because if we feel respected, then that's our love language.
Yeah, and how guys respect each other is kind of funny because like it really depends on like the group of friends or like the group of guys you're with. But like some people respect you in different ways, whether it's like, or literally they disrespect you because they respect you, because they think so highly of you, they want to bring you down to their level because like they're like, dude, you're fucking awesome. Like we can't say that because we feel threatened, but we don't want to hold it against you because we're not haters. Like there are those people that like acknowledge your skill level, know that you're great, but like are intimidated by it, and they don't want to say anything or do anything to ruin that,
right,
and get in the way. There are those guys that are just genuinely jealous. And that happens everywhere.
Oh my God, that happens. Oh God, that happens more often than none.
Well, it's because we're competitive. I mean, I know a lot of people out there will say like, "Well, women are competitive too." They are, absolutely, but it's not like built in your DNA like it is for a guy. Like a guy literally wakes up in the morning and like the first primal thing that our brains do is like food and like survival. Like it's literally like, all right, like we check our surroundings. I don't know if anybody else does that, but I wake up and I'm like, is everything still here?
Right, yeah.
Like, are we all safe? Like, it's a primal thing. I don't do it because my brain goes, you better check this. It's before my brain even turns on. It's like I'm scanning the room like a fucking robot. I'm like, then I'm awake. I'm like, all right, gotta take a shit.
Right.
Because that's the real reason my brain probably woke me up is like
priorities.
Yeah, you gotta take a shit, but first, before you take a shit, make sure the room is secure. Like check your corners. Like it's a primal thing. Like I know that for a fact. Like I wake up and like I don't know, like you said, like you kind of fight yourself. You know, like we have to contain ourselves as guys. Like we're craving that respect, and it's almost so primal that we're willing to fight for it. Some people are.
We will fight and claw for our respect.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, because it's like if anybody sits here and disrespects you, like I know you are not going to take that. Like you're not going to take it lightly at all. I just know you. I know your character as an individual. I think that's the last thing.
I'm a words guy because like for me like it's all up here. Like I'm a very like I know how to like outwork somebody mentally because even if they want to beat my ass, like I'm saying something where like I stop them and they're like, oh, I got to think about that because. Before you even get physical, everything is mental. Like there has to be something. Like you don't just see another person and go, "I'm gonna fight them." There's something inside that causes you to go, "All right, I don't like that guy."
Yeah.
He has something I don't that I want, or he's looks funny. I don't know. Fuck it. People always find something inside their head to like put a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
So
depends on how, and I think what it comes down to is the perspective of it.
Yeah.
Right. Are you going to use that to bring out hateful energy? Like, man, I hate this guy, like, because he has this or this specific thing. Or are you going to use that as some sort of motivation, but for yourself?
Yeah.
Right? You can view someone like, you have something that I don't, brother. Like, you have the way you express your words, the way you express your emotions, the way you express things logically to people. Like, they clearly understand, right? So you're able to... That's why you're a great salesman. Like you are a great salesman. You're able to finesse your way into situations without being overbearing, without seeming like, without appearing as a threat or disrespectful to somebody, right?
Right.
Like I have that to a certain extent because I get annoyed. Like I get annoyed with people when they don't hear me or understand me. So like sometimes my tone will shift. But you have a very soothing voice where it's just like, okay, like let's think about this rationally. Me, I think about it rationally, but then I'm just like, all right, bro, you're not getting it. It's okay. Like, I'm just going to step. Like, it's cool. Like, it's all right, bro.
It's kind of funny because, like, I've noticed, like, there's certain shows or, like, that I'm, like, interested in. I've been watching Suits recently. It's a show about lawyers. And I was like, you in that suit, that picture you sent me of that real estate, I was like, bro, you could have been a lawyer, too. Shit. My parents told me I could have been a lawyer. So like this show is funny because there's two different personality types of like the types of lawyers that they like kind of highlight. There's the guy that's like super cocky, super like bully, super this and that because he just knows that he's so good at what he does.
Right.
Like, but then there's the smooth guy who's like intimidating because you think the threat of him knowing more than you is the threat. Like, and he might always have something up his sleeve that you're just like, I have the upper hand, and he's like, well, you think you have the upper hand, but really you just worked for me. That's something that like, I don't know. I always aspired to be that guy that's like super sly on the inside, where you're like, you don't suspect me, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, he's the threat.
A mystery, the dark horse.
And that came from our high school because everybody was a dick and doubted what I could do. So I'm like, all right, fine, doubt me. I'll play up the loser side of it, and then when I go out and just set a benchmark or something, you just have to either hate or get on board. And everybody at Spring Lake Park chose hate.
We had such a grimy high school.
We had a haterade filled.
We had some hating ass dudes in our high school.
The one bad
don't
part.
do well with bees.
The one bad thing about doing it outside.
Get it away from me.
He's out of here. He's out of here.
He's gone. Oh my
And that's
God.
the one thing that's bad about doing the podcast outside.
I don't do
The one bad thing about doing it outside.
Bro, I don't do well with bees, bro.
Oh. All right, I got something to cheer you up. I need you to open that. See this thing right here that's on your left? No, right on this. Yeah, slide that open and grab what's in there.
Bro, you strategically did this, bro. What is this?
I did do that
You're
strategically.
smooth as hell, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
I did that strategically because this man has been helpful. He came in clutch when I needed a groomsman. So I got a formal invitation from my man here to my wedding.
My dog. Oh, man. I appreciate you, brother.
And yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you coming in clutch because right now, I mean, I've had 2 groomsmen drop out already. So like, I don't have any more backups, man. So like, I appreciate you, and I'm thankful for you. And you can obviously bring your plus one if she would like to go. You can let her know that's gonna be an awesome wedding at a winery.
Absolutely.
And I got some Crow River Winery in the crib right here that we can try before you go.
Absolutely.
To give it a taste.
Oh, damn, I can't even drink right now.
Oh, you can't? That's fine.
I'll take a cup and save it.
Well, we can. You're gonna have a bunch at the wedding for sure.
Oh my God. Oh yeah.
Because there's gonna be wine
For
all over the
sure.
place, but there's gonna be drinks. There's gonna be a whole bar and everything. We're gonna do an hour of free drinks where it's on me. So everyone can go fucking crazy. I don't give a
Right.
shit. Like, buy up the bar. I don't care. They will not run out. They will not. They assured me they will not run out. But then after that, everything will be on you guys. But then the best part is like Crow River Winery is a like a very nice place.
Actually, you know what? I've heard so many good reviews about like the St. Croix Winery. That one in specific you're talking about, because I was talking about that with somebody yesterday about like good wineries in like the Twin Cities area. Someone said St. Croix. Like,
Well, this one's in Hutchinson, and like they were very. I mean, the lady Allie was like, just like when she showed us the place, they were super accommodating. They had pizza when we walked in, like for the tour. They were like, they had wine ready for us and everything. Our names were on everything. Like they were just like, they down to a T. They cared about everything. It was like when Michael Jordan walked into Nike. Like they had all of his stuff up. They were like, "Hey, Michael, like welcome." Like when you feel welcomed by a place after you've toured like 5 different venues, and they're just like, "Yep, this is where we have the weddings. Yep, this is where we have this. There we have that. Yeah, we got like 20 weddings this month. We're gonna have to da da da." It's like
just trying to flex.
I don't want to be a part of the pond. I want to be an individual.
Right.
Like, and that was a key point because of the whole family debacle on the other side of the sister and all that stuff. So for me, that's what sold me on this place.
That's
like,
huge.
I didn't even take pictures. I was like, our first tour. I had wine in my hand, and I was so just like a fucking tourist in Italy. I forgot to take pictures. I was just
Astounding, bro. That'd be the best moment though, when like you just look at something with your own eyes.
Yeah.
And like you don't have to feel like you got to pull out your phone to show everybody.
Too many times nowadays, people are taking out their phones in situations where they
God,
should just
bro.
embrace the
Bro,
moment.
just enjoy it, bro. Like
That's where, like, when people take out their phones at like sporting events, it blows my mind. It's like, it's already fucking recorded.
yeah, you can.
Your
really go
picture
back,
isn't
yeah.
gonna do shit compared to the photographers that are baseline.
That are already taking pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, Getty Photos is gonna make you have a little. Who gives a shit?
We're not worried about that shit, man.
Unless you're up close and personal, I don't give a shit. If you're front row, cool. You're allowed to it, but if your phone gets knocked out into a thing of beer, I'm laughing. I'm laughing
I'm gonna
at
laugh.
you.
What? You think I'm finna help? I'm finna laugh.
Oh, we went to a St. Paul Saints game with my new coworkers, and the St. Paul Saints hit back to back. On the second home run, this dude caught it in his beer cup, splashes all over him and his girl, and then he just chugs the beer. And I was like, respect.
Real one, nah. He a real
respect.
one for that. I ain't gonna lie.
If you
he
get-
could have been mad or something.
Well, if you go to a game and you catch a ball in your cup, it's mandatory you drink what's left in the cup. It doesn't matter how much gets on
That's
you
hard.
either. You better chug the rest of that, and if it gets all over you, good. Like that is the point.
That's hard. I ain't gonna lie. He a G for that.
Hey.
He a G for that.
The only cool thing I've ever done in the stands, like I've only ever caught one foul ball, and it was at a spring training game, and I saved my grandma. We were just like talking. She's not paying attention because she does not like baseball. Foul ball like bounces off the top of the dugout, and it was coming hard. Where all these people like moved out of the way because they were not trying to catch it, and I just went.
Probably sat down cool as hell.
I watched the broadcast, and they like kind of like. The broadcasters they're like, look at this smug little guy, and they called me smug little guy, and I was like 24 at the time, but like I look like I do now, so like obviously, I got called 12 by Tom Bernard. He's 70, so like I guess he can get away with that.
Right? Yeah. Let him breathe.
Well, everybody in the
We'll let him
radio,
live.
everybody in the radio industry is a lot older. Like this is,
It makes sense. Yeah.
but like podcasting, you can be whatever age, and it doesn't matter. Everyone nowadays wants to be on a podcast.
Dude, have you ever like tuned into those like relationship podcasts? Have you ever like taken a listen? I
They're
came
so
here
bad.
with the intentions of asking you that question because it pisses me off every time I see people with a relationship podcast just talking rubbish and nonsense, bro.
And most of the time it's like girls will say like their icks, and like they're always just some ridiculous, like, oh, he gets on the bed and keeps his socks on for a little too long, or like it's always something
Bro,
mind-numbingly stupid.
it just blows my soul.
And she's like, that was my
every
ick, and that's why
time.
we're not together. And it's like, but every other thing that you were looking for in the relationship was fine. It was just that he put his socks on, that he had mismatched socks or something. Like, what the fuck?
Bro, so I haven't been on Twitter in a few days because of my little social media hiatus. But there's this, they always make these memes, bro. of like women just saying something very head ass or saying something along the lines of, one of my icks is if a guy bends over and if he bends over and ties his shoes, and so like after they say that, it'll be like a transition to like the notes
Oh,
with the list of icks.
things guys can't do.
Things guys can't do. It was like guys can't breathe, guys can't snore.
How long is this list?
Bro, the list has gotten. The last time I seen it, the list is like at like 80 things now.
And
Guys
I'm-
can't get pedicures or manicures. I'm just like, bro, yo.
Guys can't get haircuts. This one time, my ex-boyfriend got a
I
haircut,
said, bro.
and he broke up with me after, so that's my ick from now on. It's like,
Oh my god.
so I cut my own hair now. I can't go to a fucking barbershop. I gotta cut my own hair at home because my girl can't stand it. She thinks I'm
Bro,
talking
I
shit.
think
Whatever.
this shit's just hilarious.
It is
now.
funny.
I
I mean,
just think it's hilarious now. And I need to change my algorithm on IG because that's all I see is just relationship, modern women.
how do we
nonsense.
change our algorithm? I want to know.
So I actually figured it out. My homie told me. He was like, you have to just start liking like things. You have to start liking things, right? So the more posts you like, the more that'll show up on your algorithm.
Okay.
So like for example, like I like anime, as everybody I think in the world knows, or anybody who knows me, like
Anybody who's watched this podcast,
hey, I love anime. My legs.
he's got the anime.
You got the anime legs. You know? I just start liking just like things I like sports, anime, food things. Like I like all these different things. Like it doesn't matter if like I barely even watch it. I'll still click like over the next week. I'll start seeing that on my explore page.
More of that,
I'll
yeah.
just start
Okay.
seeing more of that, right? So I even started liking like short little like Bible scriptures or short little like videos of people talking about God in the Bible. Started liking them. I'm like, all right, let's see if this start popping up. A week later, that's all I'm seeing on my TL. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, thank God. 'Cause, like,
That happened to me on Twitter because like I noticed that like my likes and the things that are, like it recommends to me on the like for you side of Twitter are typically now like funny videos or like videos that are viral. So like I'm getting the more viral videos now. And this one that I bookmarked that I wanted to pull up. This dude is on a bike and he got chased by a bear.
oh shit.
So
A bear.
literally a bear
Oh,
on his
shit.
mountain bike, and he's like, it's just like how fast would you pedal in that scenario? Like this dude pedals for his life. He's just getting ready for his nice little ride. And he's like, all right, cool, I'm going down
I've
train.
seen this.
Yeah, and he looks to his right, he looks left, looks right, and there's just a grizzly bear, just like, oh hey homie, oh you going somewhere? Let me, I got you. I'm going with
his
you.
adrenaline kicked in so fast, and he's I ain't gonna lie, he killing that
Oh,
bear
bro.
right now.
The best part is towards the end of this, like he gets to the end, right? He gets up on a branch, he ditches the bike,
He starts running.
starts running.
Crazy man.
This is a cartoon. He hides behind a fucking tree. The bear will never see me. And there's like guns going off. Look at the bear. Where'd he go?
Oh, I would shit myself.
And there's just guns going off in the background. This is such a gnarly video. And the caption is that this guy never pedaled harder in his life.
Oh, you know he was done biking after that. Like he had to been.
Yeah,
done.
that trail is done. No
Yeah,
more of that
he's
trail.
Never going back on that trail because I did the assault bike the other day, and it's the moment I got off on the third set, my legs were fried.
Bro, the adrenaline going through his system is like,
Oh, it wouldn't end until he got like home.
yeah, and his heartbeat was like 160 plus. Like,
170.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would be frightened for my life. Speaking of bears, that's actually funny. I was watching like UFC fights. Every other like week, I watch like free UFC fights on YouTube.
yeah, that's me too.
I love UFC, bro. I love that shit.
I get all the Russian channel ones.
I gotta start watching them.
They're on the Rush. There's a Russian UFC channel.
It's actually really funny you bring that up. Guess who I was watching?
Who?
Khabib.
Hell yeah.
I was watching Khabib highlights and stuff, and then a video came up of him wrestling bears and shit.
Oh yeah. When he was a fucking kid, his dad has
5
him.
years old.
Not even a like. It's a cub. But if you think about the scenario, like, where's the mother? The mother's so intimidated by the Nurmagomedov family that she won't even protect her cub, which is what their instinct is to do.
No, yeah, and so where they train, I watched the thing today. It was the Deccan. I think that's
The
the
Dagestan.
Dagestan. There we go. Thank you, bro. See, that's why I need someone like you around. So there was Dagestan, and then there was another country, and then there was a huge mountain that splits like that was the eastern part of Europe, and I believe it's an Asian country. Georgia. Well, Georgia's down there too,
Okay.
right? Georgia's like right over the mountain, right? So you have Dagestan, the mountain, and then Georgia. And so that's where Khabib trains, essentially those mountains. That's where his whole family has trained for like
The mountains of Dagestan are like
the longest time. Like they've trained there like forever. And since they were all young, like they just befriended the bears. Like on some generational type shit. Like the bears just like know, they recognize their face, they recognize like their stature, like they recognize who the person is. So like they'll come up to them and like either fight with them or like let them pet like the bears.
I just love the idea of the bears being like, yeah, we normally would bite people and like rip people apart, but those Nurmagomedovs,
we're gonna leave them alone.
I don't want to get armbarred, motherfucker. I'm a bear.
We like them.
I don't got health care. I don't get to fucking recover.
Bears don't got no insurance.
I guess
I got that Northwest.
I get my arm broken by Khabib and I'm a bear. Like, I'm fucked. I can't survive anymore.
I feel like if Khabib was to actually break an arm of a bear, I feel like the bear would go straight into animal instinct mode and eat his head off.
Probably, but then Khabib is also a legend. So I feel like that bear is probably dead. That cub is probably a corpse.
What DMX say? If you see me wrestling with the grizzly bear, he said help the bear.
Yeah. That's what Khabib, and Khabib was listening to that song as he's wrestling the bear. He's like, somebody better go get some help for this guy.
Bro, help the bear. Call 911 for the bear.
That's what I mean. It's like the bear's mom is like, should be intervening, but there's a level of respect with those Dagestani guys where like, even if you're a bear, it's like, I ain't gonna mess with that family.
All right, honey, I'm dropping off the little cub to the Khabib's family.
You did what? You left them with Khabib?
Dad eating some tree barks. It's like, what did you say?
What is wrong with you? What? I thought they were just gonna play and have some fun.
God,
you left him with Khabib?
That's hilarious.
That'd be a funny like cartoon, Khabib and the bear, Khabib and the cub.
So if you got all right, question, since you love UFC, right? Would you ever, if one of the UFC fighters, let's just say use the mountain of Thailand because they go crazy in Thailand.
Yeah.
With Muay Thai kickboxing.
Right.
If they were to ask you to go up and train in the mountains for a month with them, just on some cool, like, friendly shit, obviously you're going to be up there training, sparring.
I'm going to get my ass beat. That's what's going to happen.
Would you go, though?
I would.
You would?
Because it's an opportunity in life you can't pass up. Like, if Tiger Muay Thai, like, goes, hey, like, this is an opportunity, you can do this. Obviously, I know I'm probably going to get hurt. Like, you're a novice, and, like, they're going to try to take care of you, I would hope. But, like, yeah, I would do it. Why not? I mean, it's a chance to like round out certain skills that you, if you're a MMA fighter, Muay Thai is a big part of it. And I've done a little bit of jiu-jitsu, but like shit, throwing strikes, like those Muay Thai guys have a weird way about them where a lot of them are really successful and they like turn out to be just insane fighters, tough. They fucking kick metal poles for God's sakes half the time. Like these dudes
metal poles, trees, like
yeah. I've seen a Muay Thai guy chop down a tree.
Yep, we talking about the same video.
Like,
he chopped down an entire fucking tree.
He chopped down a tree with his fucking leg, man.
He kicked the fucking tree and the bark was just flying off. I'm just like, there's no way. Sports
Science is one of my favorite shows, and I quoted it earlier, but they had a Muay Thai guy kick through a baseball bat. And he fucking did it. Like, it was nothing. And just like, these dudes are built differently.
Bro. Your shins, bro, had to been like. There's a level of just like sheer, I guess. What's the word I'm even looking for? Like sheer.
I mean, it's psychotic to me.
Pain tolerance or like structural damage or structural reinforcement that happens to your shins.
You just go to a dark place and forget about pain. Like you just have to. Like there's every athlete hits that. There's a threshold where like the pain versus like the performance like. They just don't, like the performance drops when the pain is too high. Yeah. But then there's some guys that just like can work through the pain. The thing I love about the whole AP thing coming back from an ACL is he ran for 2,000 yards with a sports hernia. Does anybody know what a sports hernia is? Because a sports hernia is when your pelvis feels like it's ripping apart. And I don't know about you, but I couldn't run when I had my sports hernia about 2 months ago. I could not run, and if anybody would have tried to tackle me, I'd be on the floor writhing in pain. So the fact that he was getting tackled head on multiple times a game and still ran for 2,000 yards after surgically getting his knee repaired, this man is bionic.
Question for you. Ooh, I got a question for you.
Okay.
So you being an athlete, I'm sure you've went through your different levels of pain, right? And through going through those different levels of pain, you've developed the pain tolerance.
Right.
Now, when you add that pain tolerance, right, you take that and put that to the side. Now you think of a pain tolerance so severe, you have to do like cortisone shots or like painkillers.
Yeah.
In that sense, right? And we know, as far as the NFL goes, a lot of them dudes take cortisone shots. Like,
they have to.
Like I don't want to drop any names, but like I know a few dudes that cortisone shots, or like they're taking some sort of foreign substance to either mask the pain or increasing recovery. Do you think by taking those cortisone shots or those extra supplements, those foreign substances, do you think that attributes to, do you think it increases or decreases the pain tolerance you would typically have during your sport?
I wonder about that because, like, if you're numbing the pain, you're not feeling it, but your body does. Like
your body still feels it, but mentally you don't feel it.
Yeah, and I think there's only one true way to determine if your brain feels the pain or not, and that's if your brain shuts off because of the pain or not. Because if you black out because of the pain, or your brain blacks out because it's trying to protect you, that's when you know the pain is so high, whether you feel it or not, that something severe has happened. For me, it's like, or if you go into shock. Like, I went into shock on a baseball field because I had my shoulder broken. I also fainted on a baseball field because I had a ball hit off of my arm. It didn't break my arm, but the pain was so severe because my arm wasn't broken, because there was so much damage. Had it been broken, I probably would have went into shock. But because my brain knew that the amount of pain was high enough that it needed to protect me, it made me faint, even though it wasn't so severe that it caused me to go into shock.
Right.
So there's levels. There's just like your brain knows when you're in danger. My brain knew that, like, whatever I was feeling, whatever I was going through when my arm got hit by a line drive, like, something needed to stop. Either my brain was either getting too hot because, like, it was trying to rush the blood to the area, or it was trying to protect me from trying to be too tough and trying to tough it out while all that blood was not going to my head.
Shit.
Right? Your brain is magnificent.
Yeah.
Right? That's why UFC fighters, when they get older, they get what's called chinny. Like, the more times you get knocked out, the more likely you are to get knocked out. It's because your brain is trying to protect you because it knows you're tough. It knows you're willing to take those shots.
Right.
Chuck Liddell talked about that, and that's a guy who everyone unanimously thought was like one of the toughest guys of all time. He started getting knocked out a lot easier, especially in his older age, just because he never let his brain recover. He never let his brain get back to thinking and recovering to its fullest extent. It had to keep protecting him because it knew the damage. So for me, like, you're gonna see, like, cortisone, you're gonna see all that stuff a lot. I think it attributes to how early some guys retire, because it's an artificial thing. Your body's is conditioned to a new thing, and then after you're done, or once you get, like, later on in your career, your body can't handle that as much.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, like, the amount of cortisone you're going to need to keep adding on to keep circumventing your body getting used to it is just so much.
Yeah, and at that point it becomes a drug.
Yeah, and then
like
your
an addiction.
Your body's very good at using nutrients to help itself, and I think creatine, since it's so highly studied, I need to get more of it. I need to do more of it because it's a good thing for your body.
That's incredible. Your body already produces it in the first place.
And we need to like get more people taking creatine. But those are small things. Those are like receptors in your brain that need to be fixed, like mine. Like, I don't know. People can do that by taking antidepressants and what have you. Those things, even those small drugs like that, you get used to.
Yeah.
So the more times you do something, the more times you take cortisone, I imagine it's going to make your body get used to it, and you're going to need more of it to not feel that pain or to be able to perform at a high level. Something that, like, I don't know. There's this guy named David Goggins. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Psycho.
That dude's a psychopath.
But I respect everything he stands for.
But imagine being him and going to a doctor and the doctor being like, you have no cartilage in your knees. I don't know how you're able to do this. Like, you need cortisone shots. You need this. You need that. And he's like, no. No, I've been doing this my entire life the way I've been doing it. Why would I take this now? Just so I don't feel some pain? He's like, I've been feeling this pain. Like you said, there's levels.
There's levels to it.
As soon as he hit that threshold where his body and his mind are like, well, this is pain, but I can deal with it, he just pushes forward. And like he's a psychopath.
He is one crazy ass dude.
But listening to him motivates me because I mean, what we're doing is not scary. Like, we're talking into microphones. Like, what could I be scared about? Same thing when I'm talking to people at work, when I'm interviewing people that I think are famous. Like, I'm just like, they're regular people at the end of the day. We could be doing something so much scarier. That's why if I was on Fear Factor, I would love that show. Doing
so much adrenaline, bro.
Testing yourself, doing that adrenaline. That's what I love. I fucking love that shit.
That's what that's essentially what I want. I didn't want to do Fear Factor because I'm afraid of heights.
Because they do be dropping you in like a taxi from like above a dam or something. I think I said
this in the last podcast. Like, I'm deathly afraid of heights. But like, one thing I found adrenaline in was MMA.
Yeah.
Right? Because think about just, when you get in a fight, bro.
Yeah.
Like, do we actually want to get in a fight?
No.
More than likely not. But like, everyone gets that, both sides get that fight or flight, and that really tests you just as an individual. It tests your character, it tests you as a man, like mano and mano. Even if you're just sparring, like on some light shit, like you obviously are doing your best to not get beat up. Like, that's your pride on the line, essentially. It doesn't get no. The biggest
thing is getting hit. Like, if you get hit, that's like you made yourself a target. You got hit. Now you're like, all right, well, now I'm damaged. I'm trying to hit this guy back. But for me, like, I would be a defensive like boxer. I'd be a defensive type fighter because like I'm trying not to get hit and I'm just trying to capitalize on your mistakes.
Right.
I know that like I wouldn't have a good enough game plan to outwit you offensively. For me, it's like, let me use your game plan against you.
It depends on your weight class, brother. Like, you could come back here 3 months later, 20 pounds heavier, jacked, just looking like a damn. If
I got on some tea, I mean, I'm sure I could take some tea and, I mean, start getting jacked. I'm with you. I need to get back in the gym and like work a little bit more on like eating healthier, because I feel like that's a lifestyle choice that like.
I got a challenge. You can start on Monday.
You might as well send it to me.
I'll send it to you. Yeah, I'll send it to you after this, bro. I got like 8 of my guys doing. Well, no, like 6 of my guys doing this. It's essentially, bro, I'm just gonna find it right now.
Yeah, just send it to me.
I'm about to find it right now, and
I mean, we're making moves. I said this as like an intro to my, like, this is something Pat McAfee says, but it's up to something season. We've been up to something. I've definitely been up to something.
You've been cooking, bro.
I've been cooking.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been cooking,
and I'm gonna keep doing that because I don't know any other way. Like, I've noticed that like I'm my happiest when I'm pushing towards a goal. It's not the goal that makes me happy. It's not attaining the goal that makes me happy.
It's the purpose.
It's the fact that I'm doing something. I'm out there pushing towards something. I find so much joy in practice nowadays. And I did when I was younger. Like, I loved hitting off the tee. I loved like getting nitty gritty and learning like little things to like improve my game, whether it was just like how to throw the ball right from the outfield, like how to get into the right position or whatever. Little things like that are always like super cool to me. So like any chance you get to like improve your game, whether it's little or big, like you should take it. Like I agree. I have a hard time. Or I did have a hard time when I was younger taking criticism because I thought I was always right, but then I was like a junior or sophomore or something like that, and like I just realized like no one wants a small 5'8" guy who's like who thinks he knows it all. Mm. Like, if I'm workable, if I'm able to be measurable, like any team's gonna be like, all right, I can use this guy. He knows his strengths and he knows our strengths. He's just gonna capitalize on that. I got hurt, that's fine, but like at the end of the day, I'm gonna adapt that into golf, because like when I go play golf later, I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna love the practice, and then when I go play, I'm not even gonna worry as much, as because I put in the work.
It's like clockwork.
Yeah.
It's literally like clockwork.
I think more people need to practice more.
In everything though, like in everything that they do. Like here, I'm about to actually send you this right now. This is a separate challenge. It's essentially has the same things, but just like a couple different things. Don't worry about the names in there. Those are just my other homies. See, it's so I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna just tell you something that's so funny that I didn't like about my friends when I told them about this challenge. So there was, out of the 8 people I told, 6 of them wanted to do it. Right. The other 2 were just like, I'm good. I know damn well I'm not gonna do it. And I'm just like, no, that's okay. Like this is a self accountability challenge. I'm not gonna tell you to do shit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you to do a damn thing. This is up to you. And there's negative reinforcement that's come with this. Right. 2 of them were so out of the 6 now, 3 of them tried to make contingencies for themselves, right? And I wanted a group FaceTime like, okay, I'm going to create this, but I also want everyone to bounce ideas off. Like, if there's something you don't like on here, like, please say something. Because I don't want to see here make this challenge and then, you know what I'm saying, like, you arguing with me about a specific one. Like, that's fine. Like, I have to argue. Just tell me about it, right?
Right.
So, on here, it's obviously, the clear one was no liquor. Right?
That's hard for some people.
It's hard for some people, and I get that. Like, I understand that, right? And so one of them made the case of saying, yo, listen, I can't really do that because with my lifestyle, like, I go out a lot. I go out to network and stuff. I go out to do this and that. Like, I'm always getting asked to do things. Like, even if I don't even drink a lot in the first place, I just drink a little bit, and that's what it is. I'm just like, okay, fine. Like it's cool. Like I'm not gonna trip about that. But you need to add like one extra contingency on top of that.
Yeah, you got to add something. You got to take away. If you add some contingency, you have to add something else to like circumvent
right. So
that.
like if you're gonna drink, right, that's fine. That's not really essentially the point of the challenge. You're supposed to essentially the point of this is to give up your greatest god damn it.
Vice?
Not advice. What did you say? Vice?
Vice. Like your greatest vice. Like the thing that you...
Your greatest pleasures.
That's the right one.
That's the word I was looking for. Essentially, it's just giving up your greatest pleasures, right? So when you think about pleasures, food, alcohol, liquor, drugs, like whatever it might be, it's giving that up for 3 weeks, right? And my thing behind it is, okay, would you, if someone was literally put a gun up to your parents' head, God forbid, would you be able to give these things up for 3 weeks?
You'd have to.
More than likely, 99% of people will be like, yes, absolutely.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so do it for yourself and hold yourself accountable, right? Because you're just at this point, you're increasing your, I call it discipline capacity, right? You're giving up something that you enjoy to do, you like doing, like for example, you like drinking, you like eating sugar, masturbation, whatever it might be, doesn't matter. But if you can give that up for just a little bit, right? It takes 21 days to break a habit.
Right.
If you can do that, then after that 21 days, maybe like by day like 22, 23, if you still are doing it, you're going to get to the point where it's like, okay, damn, like
you might not want to do it anymore.
You don't even want to do this shit anymore, right?
Right.
So that was my philosophy behind it. Like, give that up for 3 weeks. Let's just see what happens, like how your body might change or how your mindset might change after this, right?
Right.
It's a whole list full of things like to do. Essentially, it's the same thing same things that I read earlier, right?
But imagine, like you said, like people coming up with like ways to circumvent the rules, coming up with contingencies, and like if you really cared about making a change, you would find a way to make it work for you still. The thing I thought of is like if he doesn't want to drink, like if he still has to go be social, just order shots of water. Tell the bartender, hey, I'm not drinking, but I want to make it look like I'm drinking. They can help you with that. I've done that. Literally, I did
that last night.
I did that I think it was 3 weeks ago. I was supposed to be drinking with these people, and they were like, "Here, take a shot with me." And I told her, like, I don't care what you do. Find a way to pour a shot of something that looks exactly like what they're pouring. I don't care how you do it, but it cannot be alcoholic because I am not drinking tonight. And she was like, "Oh, why?" She didn't go, "Oh, I can't do that." She was like, "Oh, why? Like, I'll help you with that, but how? Like, can I know why?" And I was just like, it's something with my stomach. Like,
No, it's not gonna be a good idea.
Yeah, like
today.
Nobody wants to see me throw up in public. I said before, I get embarrassed if I'm throwing up in public.
Right.
You don't want to be that kid in school who threw up in class. You got stain on the carpet? Yeah, that was Jimmy. This is Jimmy's stain right here.
Nah,
Every time.
almost a permanent mark.
It's just like you. Every class was carpet except for the science class. So yeah, throw up in science class, push it into the drain. Cool, but like yeah, it's embarrassing to throw up in public. So like, getting wasted and doing all that shit in public just doesn't entertain me anymore either. So like,
Yeah.
I get what he's saying. If he has to entertain people, cool, but still find a way. If you really care about the rules, if you really care about something like that, you'll find a way. And that's something that I don't like about certain people. Is like, even if they make a commitment, they'll find a way to circumvent the rules. I do it sometimes. And I just know myself. And I know that, like, if I'm doing something that I think is bad, it's not always the worst. I have a very high criticism of myself.
Yeah.
So, like, other people's level of, like, what is bad and what is like good is way different than mine. Like what I think is good has to be like great for other people, like way over the top good. But for me, like that standard, if you raise your standard of good, you start off like expecting a little bit more of people, and then your friend group starts to get smaller and smaller, and you're like, you see the people who actually care about you, and you're like, holy shit.
Bro, and that's what I'm saying, like doing like small challenges like this, and it's for 3 weeks. The one I'm doing with the men's group is 6. Like
6 weeks is still not that much.
It's not that bad. It's really like what, a month and a half.
A month and a half, yeah.
It's not that bad. Like it's really not that bad. And we're doing like we took in-body tests because one of the guys is a doctor, so we all took in-body tests to see like how much our bodies would transform after, right? So I took an in-body and I compared it from my last in-body, right? I'm up just off like giving up liquor and just working out every day, just, you know what I'm saying, I gained 5 pounds of muscle. Ooh. I lost 1.5% of body fat, so I went from 17.5 to 16. My skeletal muscle mass, like, you know what I'm saying, like all these things,
all these
like,
metrics are going up.
They're going, well, yeah, going up
in the right direction.
There we go.
I gotta phrase that right.
They're going up in the right direction, and it's not like I'm not doing this to like be better than anybody. I'm just doing this to really. I got a couple of screws loose up here, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
We all do. I got
a couple of screws loose up here, so it's like I like to try like shit like that. Like,
well, that's a self-improvement thing that I think maybe that's embedded in both of us. Like being the best version of yourself is very attractive. Like I think. Oh, that's Mocha. She's like, who is this black man?
Right.
Well, like I think trying to be the best version of yourself is very important. Waking up every morning, trying to like get good at something or get better at something is like a challenge that I challenged myself to before I got to college. Because I was like, if I go to college and I don't come out with a degree, I better have learned something. You know what I mean? Like I better come out with something, because my parents aren't gonna let me back in the house unless I got either a piece of paper that says you graduated, or you got a job with like some money behind it.
Right.
Because like you just have to, and that goes back to men being measured by their worth a little bit. I mean, my parents instilled that I needed to go to college from early on, but I think it was really because they wanted to see me round out as a person. They weren't being like, your value is based on if you get this thing.
Right.
But it was still a thing that like nowadays I wish I would have not gone, because the money aspect. It's not even so much of what I learned, because like I feel like I could have learned that somewhere else. I'm glad that I learned it, but it's like I spend so much money to learn it. I could have learned that for much less money.
Yeah, man. And what I got out of college, and me being an athlete in college, is just like, okay, like I had one goal in mind. That was get to the NFL, and I'll do the schoolwork. I'll do what I have to do. But I think one thing that, you know, from college athletics I learned is just like, more than anything, like people really judge you. A genuine person judges you off your character.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like, and that's why I rock with you so heavy, because your character, bro, is literally top tier. Like,
appreciate that,
kids, bro. You have a good heart, man. Like, you're very genuine. Like, I can just, that radiates off of you. That's why people like you. Like, that's why people like enjoy you around. You know what I'm saying?
I hope
like,
so, man.
I really see that for me. That's why I don't mind like coming here at any time of the day to do shit.
Bro.
Like this.
Well, I need a co-host for a show I'm working on. So this was supposed to be with that guy that dropped out, and this is where like I'm a little sad that he dropped out, because this opportunity I would be more comfortable with had he stuck it out. Because if he's gonna flake on this, who's like, I got a big opportunity in front of him. Who's gonna say he's not gonna take that? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so with this whole Tom Bernard thing is like he's got a studio. He's got connections with Hubbard. He's got this and that. It's like if I find a way to work that into a show, and I need a co-host for a certain type of show, I need someone I can trust.
Yeah, man.
And right now that's you. So in my head I have this idea for a show, and I think I've told you I'm not gonna. People are gonna steal my show idea.
Can't drop the.
I'm not gonna do it, but I mean,
drop it.
the idea is there, and I just need someone who I can trust. So, and that's gonna end up being you. So,
Hey, man,
be prepared.
If you ever got to circle back and figure it out with bro, hey, figure that out, bro.
We might.
If it makes sense, because like me, it's no hard feelings to me. This, like,
Yeah.
I like this. I like a very chill atmosphere.
Yeah.
I like this type of stuff, where I could just be like my overall like authentic self right now.
Yeah.
If it makes sense, then like figure it out with bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna support you regardless. Like I don't care if you dead ass needed me to be your co-host for a specific set. Like I'll make time for that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
But,
well, I mean, I got a lot of good things moving. Up to something season means that like with the Tom Bernard podcast, like I'm gonna take bits and pieces from this from a future episode I'm gonna do with Bob Kendrick, who is the president of the Negro League Baseball Museum.
Yep.
I told you about that. He agreed to be on my show, and now I have an avenue where I want to broadcast that message because I didn't know how I wanted to do it, and now I do because I'm working with that producer over at Tom Bernard's show. But yeah, that's going to be an epic interview. I can't wait to talk about like Satchel Paige with him and like talk about baseball and how it's evolved and just like they just got approved for a newer upgrade to the baseball museum. It looks fantastic. Like I can't wait to ask him about that. Like big things are coming, and that just means that like I need people behind me that I can trust. So that's where we're at right now, and that's why I'm glad you're here. I mean, the podcast is growing. I'm close to 200 subs, which is I was at 80 the last time you were here. So I've added 100 subs since then, and then it's all from doing some like breakdown videos of umpires.
Bro, I have been watching your shit on the low.
The umpire videos are fucking hilarious because like, well, except for the most recent one I posted, a 61-year-old vet umpire got knocked out by a parent. Like we can't have that. We can't have that. Yeah, he his son got a warning in a game, and he after the game came up to the umpire when he wasn't looking and just cold cocked him. Knocked him out. Yeah, a 61-year-old veteran too. So like this guy fought for your freedom, and you're just gonna knock him out? Like,
come on,
yeah. So I as much as I was ridiculing some umpires and highlighting a bad few moments, I wanted to highlight something on the opposite side and be like, hey, look, like I'm on the side of good umpiring. Like I want the officials to be good at their job, and I want the game to run smoothly. I don't care how that's done. I just want that to be done, and I'm going to criticize both sides. Parents, coaches, and players alike. Like, I don't care who you are. I want the game to be good. I want the game of baseball to be pure and fun, and like the emotions of the game are getting high now. Like we're getting mad at players for celebrating home runs, and I'm like, we need to grow. We need to grow. We
can't get lit no more off
of, I have a clip for you. This kid hit a grand slam in his last at bat of his high school career, and people are mad at him for pimping it, and I'm like, I'd be pimping it all the way to the fucking parking lot.
Man, well, I damn near might hit a crip walk from third base to home.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like it is a high school kid that just like you just know like this is great. Grand slam in his final high school at bat. He's like, yeah, that's right.
Oh, in Texas too?
Oh, it's Texas. This is Texas baseball.
Yeah.
Texas baseball and football are real serious.
They go crazy in baseball.
When you can play all year
his
round.
His last at bat too?
His final at bat of his high school career, and he hits a grand slam. Of course you're going to pimp that shit. Look at his teammates. Ah.
I'm dead. Yeah.
He's like, uh-huh. Those jerseys are icy, too.
Yeah, those jerseys is hard.
Bro.
I was going to say.
Oh,
he cranked that out, too.
Bro.
Ooh.
So, I in MLB The Show, I created jerseys kind of like that, but instead of that patch where it says the letters, it's got this, because that's going to be my new logo. I'm trying to put that on some hats, bro. I'm trying to put that on some hats, like some all black hats or some trucker hats. Wouldn't that be hard?
That'd be hard, yeah.
Bro, it's a toilet paper podcast. I'm
Yeah,
TP,
it's
baby.
hard.
I'm TP, baby.
Don't play with them.
My thing is the TP Fun Squad, and it's toilet paper on the hat, toilet paper here, and then my away jerseys it just says Fun Squad.
That's hard,
bro. I don't know. I get creative sometimes.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
You gotta throw a little bit of sauce to the subscribers out there for now, but we can't give them the full.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll show some bits and pieces. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you being here, brother.
Brother, man, you already know it's always a pleasure being on with you, man.
Well, we're gonna have a big behind the scenes for the wedding because the last thing I'm gonna show you before we get out of here.
Vlog that low key.
Oh, the best part is like I got a videographer and I'm gonna get in touch with them because I know about like when you walk into a game or you gotta look fresh as you walking into the game.
Game day walkthroughs.
Game day walkthroughs, all that shit.
Oh, I'm coming in.
This is what you're gonna be walking with as you walk in. Look at that. Look at that.
Ooh, that's hard. Man.
That's a baseball jersey that's gonna say groomsman on it.
That's hard.
And it's gonna be navy with some navy and gold trim.
Ooh, yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, you're gonna be walking in with
that.
that.
Game day fits.
That's
bro.
what I'm saying.
I seen some guy did that for his wedding. Like he said, the one request he asked for his wedding was to have a photographer have them walking inside with like some game day fits.
That's exactly what I'm requesting too. That's exactly
hard.
what I'm
That's
requesting.
So hard.
Yeah, you see, you can picture it now too.
I'm gonna go crazy,
bro. I can't wait. My wedding is gonna be all content. Like I can't wait. So yeah, it's gonna be amazing. Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it too,
Hell
brother.
Yeah.
I appreciate the invitation to the groomsmen. That's
appreciate you being here.
It's big time, brother.
Ooh, an hour and 30.